This is the Cool Guys podcast right here. Richard and, of course, Denny Cool. Richard, unless you want to be called a different name.
No, Richard is great.
I question everything, Richard.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I question myself. But, now, everybody out there that knows you, man, knows that you're an enthusiast about like the Bigfoot, like the mythological things. And I love that stuff. I really do. And what do they call them? Those what is it? Creatures there that.
Oh, cryptids?
Cryptids. Yeah. So you were saying to me that you were watching some shows or some media or something like that really kind of got you interested in like the whole Bigfoot. Did you ever watch Finding Bigfoot?
I did. I think I had cable at the time. I watched like the first season of it. Couldn't really get into that. What really piqued my interest was it was a YouTube channel. I can't remember the name of the gentleman. He actually passed away a couple of years ago. But he would interview people and even talked about his own personal experience. And just listening to him talk, like sometimes when you hear people tell stories, it's kind of okay. It sounds like what everybody else says. And sometimes, some people sound genuine. Some people sound like they're making something up. It's
right.
It's a mixed bag. But this guy just seemed genuine. And I had never really, I had heard of Bigfoot and never really thought much of it. But watching this guy and listening to his stories and the interviews he did with people, just really raised that question. Is it possible? I'm of the thing that I do think there is something that does exist. There's too many people that have seen things, but I've never personally seen it, and I'm not gonna wager my house on it or anything. But just my personal thing is, I believe that there's so much vast area, even in our own country, that people have either never been to or barely ever been to, that wouldn't be surprising that something couldn't exist out in those very remote regions. I mean, even, a lot of people don't realize even like the great lowland gorilla was considered a myth until the late 1800s when they finally were discovered. And there's the okapi was discovered, I think, in the early 1900s, which is the size of a horse, but no one even knew it existed because it blended in with the environment so well. So, who's to say what could or couldn't be out there?
That's interesting because I am what do you call it? I'm like a mini researcher. I've gone as far as years ago. Okay, I've until I learned what, in my opinion and in my beliefs, what was truth about dead, non-dead. I didn't grow up in, per se, a family of faith, right? Mm-hmm. I was pretty much on my own since I was like 15, so I kind of had to learn my way. But I was eccentric. I still am to a point, but just back then it was different. Like I believed all this different stuff. And when I started to learn scriptural-based material, and I wasn't, nor am I today, I wasn't one of those that read something or was told something and just instantly believed it. I was always a doubter, right? Like, I'm like, no, and I would have to find out for myself. But it would have to be, and you're probably the same way, like you have to believe it in order for it to be real, whatever that is. It has to make sense to you, right? It doesn't have to make sense to somebody else, but it has to make sense to you for you to be convinced or feel that that's what you believe. And so for the longest time, man, and then I had some very horrific experiences with that stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. And then I got into learning about cryptids and all that stuff. And what I found interesting, and for the longest time, again, this is years ago, is that in the Bible there were these nymphs. Okay, I don't know if you're aware of that story, but before the Great Flood, Noah's day, there were giants.
Yep.
Demons had relations with women. They produced these giants of the earth, powerful beings. They were just men of might.
Renown.
Yeah. And for the longest time, I believed that what if Bigfoot was one of them? Because a lot of the reports that you read about, they're interdimensional, that they can go through portals or that they appear and disappear. And I'm like, what if some of them survived? Right? Because they were spirit, to begin with. But then the further I understood Scripture, the more I read, well, no, they were flesh. So they would have perished along with everybody but Noah and his family. So I kind of put that aside. But with the media, YouTube, and all of these different things, now everybody has a camera, okay? My dog even has one. What I found interesting was this, and again, like you, I can't prove it, I'm not going to bet my house on it, but many indigenous people of, like, say, the Pacific Northwest, they would tell stories about a large, hairy, human-like being, and different tribes, they would have, like, different names and traditions, including Sasquatch. And so the word derived, that word Sasquatch, from, it's called, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, Halcomelum language. Halcomelum language. But in 1924, Ape Canyon, Washington. You ever hear of that place?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you heard of it?
Oh, I know the story of Ape Canyon, yeah.
Really?
That's one of the biggest stories if you follow the subject.
Well,
that's the one with the bunch of what are they, hunters or loggers or something, and they were up in that
miners.
cabin.
Yeah, they were miners.
Yeah. And they got up in that cabin, and they were attacked by quite a few of them throughout the night.
Oh.
As the story goes.
So, well, if these people, well, that would make sense, right? Because they're in a canyon, they're mining, and their claim is that there were ape-like creatures that attacked them. But I guess that after one of the miners reportedly shot one. See, okay, here's the other thing I don't understand about this. Is like that show Finding Bigfoot and stuff. There's one show, I don't know if it's that one, but it's on Discovery. They ran out of seasons. It no longer airs. You can watch reruns, of course. But what I found interesting, and I always do to this day, even the same thing with UFOs and stuff, is, okay, why is it that, like, and some of the shows have been stupid, they're just dumb, but they're right on the edge, they're right on the cusp, right? We're going to get them, and you hear these cries, or these banging on the trees, or they find these nests. But there has never been any type of bones, there's never been, like I don't know, anything physically to tie to any of these claims. And that's the thing that always gets me. That's why, like, Richard, I'm so on the fence about this with, like, the cryptozoology, cryptid believers and all that stuff. Like, I'm trying to understand, is this something that if a story starts maybe 1,000 years ago, and through time, it changes and evolves, and then it becomes a reality. We start to make it life. Like, we make it part of our belief. And so we don't have physical proof, but mentally we believe it to be true. And so I've always wondered, is that, because there's a term for that, Cool Guys, Ladies and Gentlemen podcast.